How many perfumes should a person have? This is a question that many people tend to have. In the past, it used to be simple. You used to have one signature scent, and a signature scent back in the day, suppose the 1930s or 1940s, you would pick a scent that you feel would represent you, your personality, your preferences, and or what kind of air you want to project, or what first impression you want to provide. But a signature scent used to be just you pick one, you stick with it, and that's you. That's basically who you are. And anytime you walk by, they're like, that's Jane. She's wearing a Shalimar or something. They'll always, it's more of a defining thing, fragrance back in the day. Today, people still have signature scents, but these days people tend to have multiple signature scents, or they might just prefer to experiment with different perfumes. But the question is, how many perfume bottles or just perfumes in general should you have? So the simple answer is that you could have as many as you want. Some people like to collect perfumes, so it kind of depends. But if you just want to not go crazy with your perfume collection, want to keep things relatively minimal, how many should you have? So usually having 2 perfumes is a really good start. One perfume these days usually isn't enough to satisfy people. So that's because there are perfumes that are good for different situations. In the past, many decades ago, signature scents were usually all-purpose scents, a scent that could be good for the daytime, the evening, the winter, the summer, a party, a casual situation. Perfumes these days are more niche and more specific, so they're not necessarily all-purpose fragrances like perfumes once used to be. So for that reason, unless you do happen to stumble across an all-purpose perfume, and then you only get the one, most people are happy with 2 perfumes. So suppose you have one perfume that is very light and fresh and clean, that kind of perfume would be really good for the summer, the spring, casual situations, going out during the day, that sort of thing. And your second perfume could be, kind of the opposite for the evening, maybe more of a smoky, sultry, kind of sexy perfume with woody scents, with some musk. Then you could wear that in the evening. You could wear that during the autumn or winter, more formal events, and that sort of thing. And of course, perfumes in general are quite versatile. You could use, whatever for whenever time you want. But there is the case, like for instance, temperature. If it's a hot day outside, wearing a really heavy, musky perfume, usually it doesn't go well with the heat. Same with light scents during the winter, like cold weather, because those scents just won't complement the temperature that you're in. So, choosing a perfume based on that kind of helps narrow down the question, how many perfumes should you have? So 2 is a good start. A lot of people say 3. 3 perfumes, I would also agree, is a very good kind of foundation. Once you have 3 perfumes that you really like, you can pretty much do whatever you want with them. You have your daytime perfume, you have an evening perfume, and then maybe you have a formal perfume or a party perfume, something, Or maybe you have a modest perfume, maybe kind of romantic florals. Then you have a really punch in the nose sort of like a musk animalistic perfume. Then maybe you have more of a citrusy, refreshing perfume in the middle. So it all kind of depends on your preferences. And for me, it's kind of hard to decide. Like 3 is a very good number, but then you have to consider, what if you just really, really love several, more than 3 perfumes? In that case, if you just can't live without certain perfumes, then, by all means get those perfumes. I have about 4 or 5 perfumes personally, or at least samples that I have discovered that I really like, and so I would love to have, 4 or 5 of these perfumes just to have for these different occasions. And the scenario is completely different if you want to collect perfumes. I'm not into collecting perfumes, but those who are, it can go on endlessly. There are hundreds and even thousands of different perfumes out there, in all the different scent families, the floral perfumes, the musk perfumes, stuff like that. For that reason, if you want to collect perfumes, then the number of perfumes that you have or want to get really doesn't matter, because your collection could just go on forever. But other than that, if you don't really want to start a collection and you don't want to start hoarding perfumes, then I would say at max 5 perfumes is probably a good limit, because 5 is a really solid number for perfumes. You can put multiple fragrance families, into that single number. You can have your floral perfume, a woody perfume, a musky perfume, a citrus perfume, whatever combination of perfumes that you want. And 5 perfumes will last you a long time. Full bottles, say 2 ounces each or even 3 ounces each, they'll last you a long time, especially if you rotate between them. And then of course you could try, mixing perfumes if you want. But 5 perfumes is a really good foundation. Going more than that, if you're not collecting, it eventually can get a bit cluttered, and then you might not even end up using some of those perfumes. 5 and less, like between 2 and 5, is good because it will give you the opportunity to use all of those perfumes at some point, so one isn't just sitting around on the counter forgotten. And of course, if you want to be, particularly minimalistic, 2 or 3 is good. And having 1 perfume is also good, but it can be difficult if that scent isn't an all-purpose sort of, scent. If you choose, I'm going to choose, say, Shalimar for my 1 signature perfume, you'll find that, such a strong perfume won't go well with like summer weather or just more casual occasions. But so it all kind of depends on your preferences, what you want, if you're collecting or not, and all that, and what kind of perfumes you just can't live without. And once you figure all that out, you'll begin to kind of narrow down on your perfume choices. Can I live without this perfume, or do I really need it or really want it? And then you could kind of balance it out. And then eventually you'll be left with a certain number of perfumes that are hopefully your favorites. You don't want to have 12 perfumes and you're like, oh, I kind of like that perfume, so I might as well keep it around, and you never end up using it. Perfume should be something that you really like and that you will use often. So that way, nothing's sitting around. You're always, enjoying these perfumes in different ways, experimenting with different scents. And of course, once you run out of a perfume, you could always replace it with something new that you might like. So the possibilities are endless with perfumes. So that's all I have to say about the question of how many perfumes should a person own. If you have any advice or ideas about that question, you can leave them in the comments below. If you liked the video, leave a like, maybe subscribe. And I make videos throughout the week, so stick around for those.